Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the individual speakers, commentators, guests, experts, and our hosts. They do not explicitly or necessarily reflect nor represent the network broadcaster channel and/or program's policy or the views held by this network broadcaster channel or program. The network broadcaster channel or program cannot be held accountable for all or any views expressed during this program.
Hello. Welcome back, Fem Talk Nation. It is Fem Talk Tuesday, and we are excited to connect with you. So let's bring in Dr. Melissa Simmons.
Hello. Hey, Fem Talk Nation. I'm so excited to be here tonight.
Yes. So we have a show of, news and hot topics and some other great things that are happening, right, in the world. But we do want you always to think about Ask Fem Talk. So when you have your burning questions and you want to get them here on the show, make sure that you send us an email at femtalktv@gmail.com, and we will address your questions right on the show.
Yes, we will.
So we have one for tonight. And this question is, my very close friend and I started working at our company at the same time. It says, I was recently promoted and am now her boss. I know she resents it and she is stirring the pot at work, talking about me to other colleagues. How do I handle this and still stay her friend? That's pretty deep. So what do you have to say about that, Dr. Melissa?
Well, I think the word friend is in quotes at this point, right?
Absolutely.
That's not a friend. I think that's the first lesson. That's not a friend. A friend does not despise your good happenings. They support you. They become your undergird. One of the things I always looked for in the workplace was somebody who would be a friend to me, that would watch out for me, would help me. If I knew anybody, they're the people that watches out, that helps you become successful. They help you get to that next level.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, when, I always tell people loyalty is one of the biggest characteristics I look for in the workplace. Is, are you going to be loyal to me and what's going on? Not that you have to do everything I say, but, really just support, you know what I'm saying? So I think first question is this really my friend?
Yeah.
Regardless of the time you both came in and you excelled more than the other person did, doesn't matter. A friend is a friend is a friend.
Yeah.
And that's number one. Number two, I don't think she needs to prove herself or come up with some kind of a way to speak to her. I think you now take the approach as, if you don't support me and you're stirring the pot, then let me tell you what I'm going to do about that. I don't see that as I would confront it as a boss and let her know, you keep on doing this and you'll be out of a job. That's what I would do. Because you showed your real colors. You know what I'm saying? You showed your, what have I always use, Oprah says it, when somebody shows you who they are, believe
them.
Believe it. And he's showing you who they are.
Yeah.
They're not your friend.
Yeah.
A friend will never stir a pot against you.
Yeah. Amen to that. I don't even really have that much more to add. My first thought when I read this question was the same as you. Well, this is not a friend. And now you have to question the friendship or the level of association, right? Because
Yeah.
now to me, this is an associate, not an actual friend. And then
Right.
I also thought, well, because the person is conducting themselves in this manner where they're stirring the pot and they're talking behind your back, to do exactly what you said, Dr. Melissa, to address them as a boss. And that
Yep.
now I can't even address you as my friend. I have to address you as the boss,
Yeah.
right?
So
Because
that's your responsibility now,
you're
right?
compromising the workplace now because of your actions, because of your jealousy, right? Instead of, as a friend would have come to me honestly and said, I'm happy for you. That's number one, because that should be
Right.
the first thing. I'm happy for you, but I'm concerned about, where I stand, right? Because that's
Mhm.
honest. And honesty is always good with a friend. You can always say, I'm really happy for you and I'm glad that it's you, but I'm also concerned about where I stand. You never know. Maybe that friend could have helped you and said, well, these are the things that I have done, right? Or these are the things
Right.
that I see in you and how you can improve. And that person could have helped you, but now you've made it a difficult situation. And now
Exactly.
all that person needs to do now is treat you as the boss, right?
I mean, there was opportunity to
Yeah,
collaborate, to support.
yeah.
There hasn't been, and I am being so honest. Anyone who has come into as a matter of fact, I started asking people, anybody walking in our office, I'm looking for a promotion, I'm looking to advance myself.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, I'm looking to get your job, maybe get me the same job somewhere else. I am the
Mm-hmm.
first. I've asked people, you want my seat?
Mm-hmm.
Because part of my awareness became, I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but if I leave, do you want this seat next? You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? That's
absolutely.
how I've been. So there was
Absolutely.
opportunity, and he blew it. I don't know whether it was a girl, a woman, or man, but they blew it. And
Right.
shame on you. Shame on you. You showed me who you
Absolutely.
are. Now I will operate that way.
Absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I've done the same. Like I've always wanted people that are coming in behind me to level up and take over. Like you could take over my job if that, I want them to come in and I want them to level up. And I've always felt like I'm going to
Absolutely.
foster you to do so. Right. Instead of, feeling like somebody really, because I feel like nobody can take my place. Nobody else is me. So nobody can take my
Nobody
place.
can
And I'm not talking
do.
about my position, but nobody else can be me. They can take my position, but they can't be me. So why not foster, talent in other people so that they can continue to move up? It makes everybody look better. Everybody, right? If the
Absolutely.
team is cohesive, they're working together and people are moving up, it gives so much opportunity for everyone to grow. So that's my
Everyone to
answer
grow.
there. And Shima, welcome. Welcome, Shishi. We were just talking
Guys
about
know
that.
how it goes.
We were just talking about that question. So, we
Which
definitely want
one?
to hear the question in regards to the workplace and the two friends where the friend got promoted and the other one started stirring the pot. So we want
Oh
to
yeah.
ask you, what are your thoughts before we, leave this subject?
When I read the question, I was like, wow. I mean, it happens. Listen, if you're on the same track and just so happen one levels
Hmm.
up and the other one doesn't,
Right.
you know me. The first thing in my mind is what happened to I'm happy for my friend if she's merely my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Did you forget that?
Hmm.
And if that's the case, I feel like if you're strong enough friends, and if you really feel like, and I know this is a big if you really feel like the person who got the promotion is deserving and she's your friend, why can't you go to her and say, I would love to have been promoted.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what I didn't do, or what could I do better, or,
Right.
so because I want to be,
Yeah.
and I don't, it's hard. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. It's hard to be report to someone who you consider your friend. It is hard.
I
You have to have
disagree.
well, everybody doesn't think the same. Like I know it may not be that for you,
Yeah.
but it is hard. You have to have a winning spirit.
Mhm,
Meaning, I want to win just as bad as you. I want you to
mhm,
win just as bad as I want to win.
mhm.
So if
Hmm.
that's not your mindset, you're going to go into it with a different thought. It's
Yeah.
not going to be, oh, we came in this thing together. You did your thing. Okay, it's my turn.
Right,
Or
right,
I'm
right.
ready for my turn. What should I
Yeah.
do different? If we're not in that mindset, it's not going to be that. So,
Yeah.
and I only say that to blanket it for everyone because everybody doesn't think like that.
Mhm.
But my thought when I read the question was, girl, okay, she got that in a company where y'all both probably was trekking hard.
Mhm.
So now if you feel like you are also deserving or you want another path or the same path, that's my friend. I got the end.
Mhm.
I'm gonna
And
go to her and be like, listen, you did that, babes. Okay.
where's the
So,
Yeah, exactly. And where's the camaraderie to say, you know what? Oh, good. You got promoted. We're gonna do this thing. Let's do it. Like, let's
exactly.
move forward. Let's continue to
Absolutely.
grow. Let's,
Yeah.
where's that rah-rah
That
spirit?
opportunity to be
Right.
like that number two support
Yeah.
and really like push the envelope because
Absolutely.
if you really are that person or that girl or that guy or that, you understand that there's multiple seats at the table. It's not one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I feel like the question shined the light on, for me, the
Mhm.
friendship.
Yeah.
Because how is that my friend for real? But now she's done something great and I'm angry about it. And even, and listen, you're allowed your feelings. But am I that angry where I can't say to her, I'm disappointed? Not that I'm not disappointed that you did it, but I'm disappointed in the fact that I couldn't get it. But I want it. So
rah-rah for you, right? Rah-rah for you.
Right.
That right.
And
So
where's
take what it is and then do better.
Yeah, I was going to say, where's the self-assessment there too?
Right.
Because you mentioned something. You mentioned that, maybe both people were going hard. Well, maybe they weren't. And that's why one got promoted and one didn't, right?
Exactly.
So sometimes you need to take a self-assessment and say, well, maybe I wasn't working as hard, or maybe I didn't learn as much. Maybe
What did I do?
maybe I
Right.
wasn't even showing my ability as much. Maybe I have it, but I wasn't actually showing it, because that's a part of progressing as well. So sometimes it's like you have to take a self-examination and say, well, what was I not doing that would have allowed me to get that promotion?
And you have the end.
Yeah.
You have the the untainted end. Because sometimes you'll go to somebody who's not your friend and your boss, and they give you the blanket reason. This your friend.
Yeah.
And if she's really your friend, she's gonna tell you, listen, this is what you could have did. This is what you did. This is what you could have done. And she gonna help you get there because y'all came together. If that's really, listen, maybe I shouldn't focus on the friendship so much, but that's how the lady started the question.
Right.
That was the thing.
And that's why
it
hurts from that level.
It does. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So great answers, ladies. Great answers. So to that person out there, examine the friendship, but continue to do what you do at your job. Don't allow your light to dim just because of that particular person.
And don't be afraid to ask her. Go to her. If she doesn't come to you, go to her. Because she should come to you, but go to her and be like, listen, the one who got the promotion.
Before you came on, though, Dr. Melissa and I said, proceed as the boss.
That's it.
That's what it's time to do now. Proceed as the boss.
That's it.
Right? So
I'm gonna have to boss up on you, okay?
That's right. So listen, in other news, we have a hot topic that is trending about Marvin Sapp. Calling it "Close the Doors." But listen, while conducting an offering during a church service, he was asking for $40,000, and he told the ushers to close the doors while this was taking place. Well, I want to know what you guys think about this.
That is involved. There's 1,000 of you. I said, close them doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. It's 1,000 that's watching online. This is a small seed. If I get 1,000 online to give this, if I get 1,000 in the sanctuary to give this, that's $40,000 tonight. Now, everyone up here, we've all sold and seeded, but I need everyone standing up here with us, with me, to plant a seed of $100. Because again, it costs to sit up here. And this is what I need you to do. If you're giving electronically, or even if you're giving tangibly, I'm going to have y'all come to the altar and give it because I need to see 1,000 people moving.
All right. Well, no, so I know that you could probably take this, multiple ways, right? And this is social media, so you're getting a snip of, right, what the actual service was all about. So we don't know. So what we don't see in that video, right, is the reason why he was asking for the $40,000. Don't really know, what that is, right? So let's just put that out there because I don't want us to pass too much judgment without having the full picture, right? But I do want to understand, like what your opinions are in regards to what you did see. So who wants to start?
Go ahead, Shima. Take it away.
Well, I gotta be honest. When you hear it, because you had to go look at it for yourself. When you hear it was, oh my God, he locked those people in there. Did he tell the people? Did you hear him lock the doors just now? Okay, close those doors. I have heard it. That's not the first time I've heard it in other churches. That's not the first time I've heard a pastor request, ask, whatever analogy you want to use, beg, demand a certain amount for gift giving. When I went to see it, I finally saw that he didn't say lock the doors. So I kind of relaxed a whole lot because I'm used to it. I've been to several churches, mega and small. And that is a common request. It's common to put the denomination on it as well, and to ask for it from specific people. That is common. I just, without seeing it, I have to say I probably did raise an eyebrow because I was like, why do we have to lock the doors to do that? But clearly,
that's not what he said.
That's not what he said. He said close the doors.
I mean, it didn't rub me either way. What rubs me the wrong way is the interpretation of it.
So I'm gonna say this. I don't have a problem with how people choose to interpret, right? Because everybody has their own views about church, right? But what I will say is just because it's commonplace, because you guys know I love to put the other side of things out there. Just because it's commonplace doesn't make it the right thing to do. I am going to say that, right? Now, what I mentioned in the beginning is we don't know the reason why he was asking for that particular amount. So there could have been a very good reason why he was asking for that amount. And listen, the church is like any other organization. It has to operate. Yeah. And in order for it to operate, it needs funds. It needs currency, just like any other organization. Absolutely. So I will say that, right? Because people need to understand that. Sometimes people think about church and it's like, oh, well, we're praising God and it should just run. It should just run, right? Well, how? Right? But I think there is a certain way to ask people for things. But like you said, if you disagreed, if you were in the building, right? Or if you were online and you disagreed, he didn't lock the doors. And then, even if he locked the doors, you still have the option to leave, right? You still have the option to get up if you don't agree with something.
You're sitting in the chair, who pull your money out your purse?
Right.
Nobody. Exactly. It wasn't ransom, was
it? No, it wasn't. Exactly. So I wanted to say, though, commonplace doesn't necessarily make it right. And you have to have the full context of something in order to know whether or not it's something that you want or are able to contribute to. And I'm going to say this because because we know that there are also churches out there who like to take the money of people, right? And use it in ways that are not for the betterment of the church, the organization, the community, the public, the congregation, right? So let's just put it out there because people may have views about it because of other places. I don't know his church, so I can't pass judgment.
Can't speak to.
Right, but people may have passed judgment because of other places. So we do know that there are funds that get misfunded, right? And they go to other things that are not godly. And I'm going to put it that way.
Was the uproar about where the money was going, or the way that he asked.
The
No,
way that it's
I'm
about that
saying-
he said close the doors to the church.
Yeah, I
But
don't
I'm
think
saying we
was
don't
with
have all the
when he- no.
context, right?
But okay, so just to back up a little bit,
Mhm.
he recently he was put out there on social media
Mhm.
because the number one draft pick, Paige Beckers from UConn,
Mhm.
number one draft pick, right? One of her favorite songs to warm up to is
Mhm.
Praise Him by Marvin Sapp.
Mhm.
So he's been trending because of Paige Beckers. Okay. So now people who don't know Marvin Sapp are looking up Marvin Sapp because they want to know who Marvin Sapp is.
Mhm.
So somebody found this video of him doing church and now they've created this big brouhaha because they found this video.
Mhm.
Now, how about if I tell you it had nothing to do with the money collection, but it had to do with the protocols that are required in church.
Okay.
I came from a couple of large non-denominational churches. I've been leadership in these churches. I've been trained by these churches. When you do the doors of the church stay open only 2 times during service. When service starts, once praise and worship is over, the doors of the church are closed, not locked, closed, because they don't want the interruption of people of what's going on in the lobby area. Specifically, what happens when you do any offering, which this was, they put security on it.
Mhm.
So they tell you to close the doors, and then security comes in because guess what? Everybody that goes to church isn't holy.
Mhm.
So people hear that they're calling for $40,000. Those that are listening for that, they got their ears perked up. They're looking at your pocketbook, their pocketbook, whose pocketbook. They're trying to figure out how can I get to the back of the church to get that $40,000. All kinds of things are happening because they don't swipe. They don't put you through the swipe card to see can you come into church. Anybody walk in.
Right. That's right.
Churches have been known to be robbed because of this.
Mhm.
So they take very seriously when they do offerings. So part of the protocol, anytime you do an offering, is to close the doors to church. The reason why he's called for the calling, because they was quote unquote probably at the end of service. You can tell he's all sweaty. They're all standing there. So this is probably towards the end of a service, right? So if it's towards the end of the service, they probably open the doors of the church because service is about to end.
Right.
So because he all of a sudden capable said, I'm going to do an offering for $40,000, as he was explaining, he said, close the doors because by protocol, all the ushers should know to close the doors. They probably opened them thinking it was ending, but it wasn't ending. So now they had to, if they were on the right, if they were doing what they were supposed to do, they would have closed the doors by him telling them. But they missed it. The ushers missed it and didn't close the doors of the church.
Right.
So he had to tell them, close the doors. I'm not finished. Because then the chaos of people standing up and leaving and also giving an offering would start to occur. And that would cause a big problem.
Especially if people who were in there with alternative motives were in there.
Church, right, who are in there. This is because they have to direct you to go to, or because he said, I want you to come down. So now their focus has to be on getting the people down, not letting you out the church. Because even to dismiss a church that large, there's a protocol.
That's right.
You just don't get up and walk out. Every row goes, every section goes. There's a protocol to enter, to exit, and everything you do in church. That was protocol that was happening.
Yeah.
And the ushers missed it. That's why he said it 1, 2, 3 times. I said, close the doors. He should never have to tell them that.
Right.
I'm sure the head of the usher board got a good reaming because that means his people don't know what to do. That's the reason why I don't like this whole thing about what's going on. If you understood a church protocol, you would understood what was happening.
Well,
But
see,
it had nothing to do with locking the church doors, trying to steal your money, trying to get your money. It had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with church protocol. If they're really good, they got a book that tells you to do that.
Can I raise a finger here? Can I raise a finger, please? And the reason why I'm doing so is because I never had a problem with him saying close the doors, right? I mean, like you said, that's protocol, that's church, that's what it is. Big or small, right? They close the door, right? But I do feel like, and because I keep going back to this, I do feel like when you ask for an offering at the end of service, when it's not your normal offering, that you should give your congregation some context. Because listen, the church needs to raise money for different things. It could be, the roof. It could be, outreach. It could be anything. But I believe that you should give your congregation
And I'm
context.
sure there was context because he just didn't come up with this. We didn't see the service. We didn't see what I mean, I have never heard of an offering just from the blue in the sense where there's usually context to it. Something's happening, or they have, okay, we have a guest speaker today, or I've heard all kinds of reasons, but we didn't see the whole service.
Right.
I'm just,
And
we
that's
all
what
are
they
coming
ran
in
with
at the
that
point
section.
where he's asking for it. And
Right.
he's trying to act at the same time. You saw people standing behind him. So there was clearly things happening.
Yeah.
So you take that one little snippet, nobody knows what's happening. And now the talk is, look at what's happening.
He's locking the people in the church.
He's locking
and
people
robbing
down
them.
to get their money. That's all you heard.
Right.
And that's why I don't like this, because
they were
it didn't come
concerned
out.
with their lives.
It wasn't it's not what I'm saying, which I know. I'm almost 98% sure that was what was happening, in a sense where this was a protocol issue.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what happens.
Absolutely.
If you understand those larger churches, they have people. I mean, the security is no joke these days. These are armed security people.
Right.
Yeah.
When they say lock the church, they mean lock the church and look. Get your, get your holster ready.
Yeah.
They know that the different words that happen, they're supposed to go like this.
Yeah.
People used to come, and I'm saying this, and I know I'm you're saying, yeah, that people used to come to the church I went to learn church protocol. That's how good the church I went to back in the day did this. And it was a mega church. People would come to our church to learn how to do this. Bigger church, growing churches would send people to us. So I think understanding a well-organized church is understanding why he said that.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So,
Glory.
So listen, when you hear the doors of the church are now open, that's when you get.
Well, you can go ahead and leave.
And you can leave.
If you are fearful that they're gonna ask for some money, you might want to go right then.
Don't nobody hold you down.
Right. So we also wanted to mention the recent space exploration, and we had Gail King, which is a TV personality. We had Katy Perry, who is a singer and entertainer. We had Lauren Sanchez, who I only know her as the fiance of Jeff Bezos. I don't know what she does on her own. Sorry, Lauren. No offense to her. We have Carrie Ann Flynn and Asha Bo as well. They all participated in Blue Origin's first ever all women's flight crew. It was roughly like 10 minutes. It had to be Gail King mentioned.
1, 2, 3, taking up space!
I'm sorry, that was space.
It's okay. Leave Flynn up there. Flynn, behind you. Look.
That looked like an episode of Housewives. I'm sorry.
Listen, I don't see. Listen, if that's what they wanted to do, I don't see anything wrong with it.
No, it's not.
Girl, bye. Girl, bye. Go on. And I think that was the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I don't.
I do. I really do.
The only reason why I'm saying that is, listen, we wouldn't expect those personalities, right? They're not astronauts. They didn't train for a long period of time, I'm sure, right? So you wouldn't expect them to go up there any longer than something like 10 minutes. But I feel like for them to be able to see outer space, right? If that's something that they wanted, right? Because this is something that you have to want. You have to want to see something like that to actually do this. I've done a simulation at Disney. It was not comfortable. It did not feel good at all. I don't want to go to outer space. However, if this is something that you actually want to see and able to sit in space and look down at the earth, that is a wonder. The galaxy is a wonder. You know what I mean? So for them to actually go through with this, have enough courage to want to do it and actually go through with it. Kudos to them. I give them kudos.
I don't see that. I don't give them kudos. I don't see it as courage. I see it as stupidity. Because a couple of months, we done seen 2 of them blow up, right? Boom, 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 boom. This is not NASA. That these people are trained to make these spacecrafts, and they've been well trained and can handle it, and we know they've been tested. This is who it was putting their people. Didn't y'all just see the Titanic little watercraft blow up, implode?
Yes, it did.
People testing things out.
Yeah.
And don't really have a good understanding if they're doing it right or wrong. There was no guarantee they was coming back or even would get up there. That is stupidity.
No, listen.
I think that was the stupidest thing I've seen somebody do.
Anything adventurous, though, with anything adventurous, you have to understand the risk. You can ride a motorcycle. It's a risk.
Exactly.
You can, do some skydiving. It's a risk. You can go scuba diving. It's a risk. So you have to be able to, and I'm sure they had to sign a plethora of waivers.
Yeah. Don't sue me. Your family can't sue me when you die going up to space. I'm sure they signed that.
Exactly.
That's stupid.
You have to understand the risks.
I have to think of it. I would only have to think of it as an experience and an excursion. Because I didn't think of it as anything else. And then the more Mimi talked about it, the more I'm thinking, yeah. And then when you said when you take a risk, you have to expect certain things like that. I think about going into the safari as many times as I've done it, and have been so severely close to the king of the jungle that it never dawned on me that I could be hurt. Not that I was like frivolous or stupid in doing it. I was in such awe. Right. And amazed by it. And I think I would have to liken it to that. Only to understand the real want to go.
I'm sure there's a but I think a lot of people, you mentioned skydiving, you mentioned safaris, you mentioned this a lot. What happens is those things, because more and more people begin to do that, so that the percentage of the risk is measured.
Yeah.
All the things you all mentioned is measured risk, meaning there has been enough people who have done this, and this is the percentage of things that happen wrong. It's not to say that's not going to happen, that the king of the jungle ain't going to jump into the car and eat you. That don't mean that. It means he can, but maybe only 99, maybe only 1.2% of the time.
Right.
But
out of the 10,000 times they do it, maybe it's not all the time. But see, this is something different. This wasn't out of the number of times. This is, you can count how many people have done this.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. But
nothing starts a civilian way. But so for you and all of your stardom to go and do this is foolishness, because you do have a lot to lose.
But listen, nothing starts without the risk, right?
Yeah.
And
so
nothing gets to those measurable. Nothing gets to those measurable numbers without somebody first taking a chance. It didn't have to be them. What I'm saying is you never get to the measurable odds, right? Or
until something happens, right?
Until something is done.
I'm sure that's what those 7 people felt like when they went on that little boat in the Titanic and that thing imploded. I'm sure that's the same thing they thought too.
Okay, but look at what.
And those happened. 2 others that the other guy put up this winter, he put 2 of them up and they both blew up. Boom, boom.
That's what people who take risks do, right? Like
they risk their lives.
Look at
that's why I call it foolishness.
Look at what's the guy David, what is his name? Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. He's
the magician or the illusionist.
Is it David Blaine? Right. Look at some of the things that he does, right? He tackles things that no other man would do, right? But I'll give you another example, right? Helicopters have been around for the longest time. However, one just fell apart and fell from the sky. And you knew that helicopters they're risky. They've always been risky.
I'm not talking about, look, there are risks in life, and we should always plan for risk for them. You mentioned helicopters, and my mind went totally somewhere else. I'm not going to bring that up. But you do take those risks, right? I understand. But I think it came off as a social media stunt.
Mm.
You don't risk your life for a social media stunt. You know, the astronauts that really lost their lives years ago, it wasn't a stunt. They were going, they were well prepared. They were trained. They had done millions of hours of testing to make sure the shuttle wouldn't explode, but yet it did. Right. You know, those are measured risks that a person should be more apt to take. This is a stunt.
But we don't know.
A little bit?
We don't. Here goes the context piece again. Go ahead, Shima.
I say, can I poke the bear on that note? Mm-hmm. You're probably gonna be mad at me. There was an engineer on the on the ship with them, so I am pretty sure, as much as she enjoyed the female camaraderie, she probably went and got as much information as she probably could. Yeah. And I only say that because I had to find out who this other person was who said that she was an engineer. And I was like, okay. Because in my mind, I was thinking, okay, y'all going up there to play around. It was the only I'm not saying she didn't enjoy, but I'm not also going to say, because I don't know, that she didn't go up there with some thoughts and maybe got some information that is going to help us in the future. I don't know. It was only 10 minutes. It could be. When I saw
even if it is, listen, you know, I don't want to go to space. That's my personal thing, right? But even if it is, and we don't know the testing that Blue Origin did for this, right? We have no idea. And listen, I've been to Disney so many times. Disney has been testing this stuff and doing simulations. They've had families getting prepared for space for years, right? So we don't know the testing that they've done. But even because of the way technology works, and because of the way the world works, and because of the way the rich work, right? Space exploration is something that people want to do, even if it is just for 10 minutes. So it is no different than being able to, now we are comfortable with it because it has happened so many times, to be able to get on a plane and go across the country or across the world. Well, this is the same thing. Now people want to play in space, and I'm putting it like this for a reason, but people want to play in space. So this is how exploration works. This is how, you know, technology starts to work. And this is how the rich start to, you know, want to do things different, right? So now people want to travel to space, even if it is just for 10 minutes, you know, and they may get to a place where they may set up camp on another planet, and you can now go vacation on another planet, right? Like at some point it will be there, right? We know this because this is what they're looking to do. So it has to
This is what explorers do. And I don't discount. I don't discount the exploration. I don't discount anything you're saying. What this was a stunt.
But we live in a world,
and that's the difference in what I'm saying. I said if we would all been singing Katy Perry songs and she didn't come back, I guess Oprah would have been upset because Gail done had a 70th birthday party. Now she's gone. I don't know what would happen.
I get it. But you have to look at the world that we live in now, right? We live in a world where everybody needs to show what's happening, right? So everything now is on social media.
Go ahead, take your tail up there again.
You know, I like to argue the other points. But you know, this is the world that we live in. This is the world that we live in.
Go ahead and live in it. Go ahead. Go take your tail back up there.
We got to get to our other subjects here. This is my favorite. Y'all. Playoff time is here. NBA playoff time is here. We are in like the first and second rounds because some of the second games have started also for the NBA championships. I'm just going to say this. I'm so sorry, Memphis. OKC is doing their thing. First round for OKC and Memphis. OKC beat Memphis by 51 points. Ooh. Sorry, y'all. We sorry.
Sorry. And I'm a big believer. If you in the NBA playoffs and you lost by 50 points, Guess what you shouldn't be in? The NBA playoffs.
Right.
No, but listen, OKC is on fire. And that's not to slight Memphis, because it's not like they were playing so poorly against everybody else. But OKC killed them all season, though. Well, let's just put that out there. They killed them all season, and they
ain't learned nothing from
beat them by
it.
20 plus points in every game, and now they came to the playoffs with 50.
Sorry.
They are actually beating them. It's not so bad right now. It's 12 points right now. Y'all know I got my TV on in the back.
You can't even watch an NBA game no more until the last 2 minutes. It don't make a difference how much they're up by or anything. You just tune in, 2 minutes left. Okay, I'll tune in now.
Yes.
That's when you start watching it.
Yes.
Look, I'm a big believer. You can't win these games. You don't need to go nowhere else.
Right.
Take your tail home. But let me say this. Yet, if you were that bad, you should have lost a few more games so you at least get in the draft and get somebody good. So that next year,
for a minimum of 25 plays, what were you doing? I'm just doing, basic math. 50 points.
That means you wasn't doing nothing.
What were you doing for 25 shots?
Mm-hmm. Listen.
Watching the game.
This is why, to me, basketball is the most exciting sport. I love it because it's so fast-paced. It could come down to the last minute if the spread is not so wide, right? Okay. It could come down to the last minute, but it's exciting. And then, with the NBA, sometimes they slight you a little bit during the season, right? Because they're playing around a little bit, they're showing off a little bit. But when it comes to the playoffs, they are down to that technical basketball. And they are playing their hearts out to try to get to that championship. At least some of them are. Some of them are. Yeah, some of them are.
But that being said, look, Steph Curry, go out there, do your thing, Steph. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I know they're not likely to win it all, but watching Steph, I think he's 37, right? 37.
Yeah.
To watch him at 37. Look like still spanking tail out there, and look, bye sleep time, y'all go. I mean, hitting the shots.
Yeah,
stop it.
And it's always when for him. It's always when it's key. Like they actually played Memphis to get the 7th seat, right, in the playoffs. And it just came down to Steph Curry, just doing what he does and making the shot, making the shots that he needed to make at the end of the game in order for them to win it to get that 7th seat. So, I appreciate basketball so much. I love the game. I absolutely love the game. So we have the question out there. What teams are you rooting for? For those who are watching us in the audience, let us know what teams you're rooting for. But Mimi said my number one is always the Warriors because I love me some Steph Curry. But I will have to say, back in the day, I was a Knicks fan. I loved me some Patrick Ewing and that whole team, right? So the Knicks, I'm rooting for them too. I don't,
they won one. They finally won one.
They did.
Look, I'm a New Yorker, so yes, I want them to win.
Exactly.
But let's get out round one, okay? Let's get out of round one and let's because they got the talent. Look, the East. It's going to be hard to be anybody in the East. I'm just going to say the East is strong. I mean, strong.
Yeah.
I mean, Cleveland, I didn't see that one happening, but Cleveland is spanking tail out there. So look, the Knicks, the Knicks have the goods. They have the goods. Maybe in certain points, not as strong, but I think if they go out there and hustle, I think they can at least get to round 2 and 3. That's my prediction out there. That's just mine. But I winning everything. Boston. The whole bench is good on Boston. Forget about the starters. The bench is good. They could put the bench out there and they would spank you too. So I think it's a matter of really who's going to come out of the East. I think it's a dogfight. I think at the end of the day, you're going to have the strong ones in Cleveland and Boston, and I think that's going to be the two that come out, or at least the top 2 out of there. In the West, I think it's anybody's to take.
Yeah, because listen, first round, like Lakers lost to Minnesota, right? So
Look, you have a lot of time. It's not as strong as the East.
Mm-hmm.
And on a good day, you have Steph out there. You have Jimmy Butler. You have Jokovic. I mean, you have so many different players that can take it down. That you don't know what's going to happen. So it should be fun. It should be fun to watch.
Yeah. And listen, OKC is a young team.
Yeah.
They're a young team with a whole lot of energy.
Yeah.
Who can shoot. Right. So I'm interested. Like I'm watching them, right? Just because they're just a young team. And I think they, this is the second time that they've been in. And so they're not new to this, right? So I'm definitely watching them because I think they're exciting to watch.
I think it's pretty cool. I think
it's going for it.
A lot of fun, pretty cool.
Yeah.
And again, this is like you said. I love sports for these moments, and the spring is a fun time because you end football, then you jump into basketball, then you get the NCAA March Madness, which was phenomenal. And now you get all of this good fun with the NBA playoffs, and this is when they come out.
Yeah,
this is when you see everybody at their best.
Can we just talk about March Madness real quick when it comes to basketball? That is some of the most exciting. These college kids, girls and boys, they play their hearts out. March Madness is some of the best basketball you could ever
watch.
Yeah.
We went to our first March Madness game. It was
it was
one of the best games of the season.
Yeah.
Where
it was Alabama. It was Alabama and Maryland, and that game made it for a few of those players. About 3 or 4 of those players was picked in the top, I would say 20 in the WNBA draft because they were. You couldn't deny. I think 3 of them came out of those two teams because it was one of the best games anybody. I think they went to double or triple overtime. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
And those girls played. Like I normally just watch overall, high level. Love basketball because I played it. Don't have a specific team, but I just watched how those girls was hustling. They was, oh my God, it was in them. They were focused. Yeah. And I even watched the draft. And I normally don't pay attention to any of the drafts. As much as I love football, I might watch that one. But they were so excited and humble, and they showed highlights. Oh my God,
they were tight. They were tight. That was some good stuff.
Oh my goodness,
good stuff. Well, since y'all mentioned the
I was gonna say to go.
Shout out to Ashley Simmons out there. If you watch the orange carpet, that was my girl. And she also did this wonderful part. I don't know if you got to see this. Some you might see it on social media. Definitely it's on social media where all of the young women that got drafted, they went into a subway car, and they were presented with their favorite person was on the screen for them to watch. So she developed that whole set, and I'm just shouting that Ashley Simmons out. Go ahead, girl.
Go, Ashley.
That's good.
Do your thing, Ashley. Since we're talking about the WNBA, and you did mention this earlier, that Paige Buckers is the #1 draft pick for the NBA, but for the WNBA. But are there any others that you're watching? I know you're very close to this, Dr. Melissa. Are there any other draft picks that you're watching?
Oh, absolutely. Kiki. And now the last names are gonna get to me, but there's a few of them. Kiki is one of them. She was the best dressed girl. She done came dressed, represented her country. I believe African country. I don't want to say the wrong one, but her and the whole family came dressed. I said, look at them sharp. But she's going to be a standout. You had Paige Beckers, obviously. You had Haley Van Wert. I think that's how you say her last name. She was going to come out last year, decided to go to TCU. and killed it at TCU. They was part of the final 8. I don't know if they got to final 4, but you have so many talented women coming into the W. And once again, that's that excitement that happened last year with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese is there again because Paige Beckers is now there. You have Kiki. You have such a number of the women coming out. You got there's at least 5 to 6 women that have that they drafted. But this is the big thing. They've changed the makeup of some of these teams.
Yeah.
Like the Washington Mystics, they were a losing team. They had about 3 draft picks. Their whole team is ready.
Structured.
It is restructured. This draft has helped them. They have a new team coming out. Golden State. It's not the Vikings. It's the Valkyries. But they're out of the Golden State. They're going to be playing in the same stadium as the Warriors. They're a whole new team coming into the league. And they got a strong team. They've revamped. A lot of good players have moved throughout the WNBA. So you have Brittany Griner, she's on a new team. A lot of movement going on. So I think what you're going to see is a lot more of an even scale for all the teams. You're going to see a lot more excitement. I mean, they're already selling out games already. I mean, it is exciting. I'm trying to get my game 1 in and, get to that game 1. I think I'm going to go to Washington. I'm going to go to the DC game because that's a good team they put together. I'm excited. I think everybody is. And, the numbers are out there now. So, if you like good basketball like we watching right now, get your WNBA ticket.
Yeah. And I love that, the numbers are moving now, right? Because we've talked about this over, a few shows and over the last year, right? And now we're starting to see things change. So it's good to see that there's butts and seats now.
There's
right?
a lot of butts and seats. And I think this is going to be interesting because what's coming up, I think at the end of the season, is going to be their first negotiations for a new contract for all the women. So I think this is going to be the year that, the salary amounts are going to go up. They had other mini leagues this year in Unrivaled, which did very well. They paid their people a much, much smaller scale than obviously this is not the WNBA. So they had just a select group of women and they paid them really well. It allowed them to stay here in the United States that way. It allowed them not to go overseas during the off season and they was able to stay here, which I think that's a big piece in making them whole as women, sports figures. You know what I'm saying? It's all about their career. This is their career. They make money and they want to make enough money where they take care of their families after a few years. You don't get a long time in any of these sports, right? At most, you get maybe 5 to 10 years. You don't even get that much sometimes. So they're trying to make all the money they can in this sport now. So I think now they're opening up the door so that you're going to see these salaries go up and really be able to keep the women here and bring more over. This number 2 pick was from France. Big girl. And they're bringing more of that. They, a lot of teams got a lot of European players in the W this season through the draft. So this is a world global sport.
And that's awesome to see, right? Because now they're able to operate in the same manner that the NBA
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So that's great to see. Well, we have to close out the show, everybody. We love you all. We just wanted to mention, as everybody knows, right? Pope Francis has passed away. He passed away the Monday after Easter. His services will be held on Saturday. So tune in to whatever station, but it's going to be in custom of the Catholic Church. So, tune in and praise him. And he was one of the most progressive popes that the church has had. So the Roman Catholic Church has had. So we just wanted to mention that and, give condolences to his family and to the Roman Catholic Church as a whole. Yeah, absolutely. So we love you all out there. Stay tuned for Fem Talk. We've got some amazing topics coming your way, brand new topics coming your way for this 2025. So continue to tune in at 8:30 p.m. right here on E360 TV under Trajectory TV. And we will see you next week.